Okay. So हेलो गाइस। सो अभी तक जो हमने अपना ज्योग्राफी का सेशन हमने स्टार्ट किया है, क्लास 9th का एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी, और जो उसमें हमने हमारा जो सेकंड चैप्टर चल रहा है दैट इज़ द फिजिकल फीचर ऑफ इंडिया। उसके जो इंडिया डिवाइडेड इनटू द 6 फिजिकल फीचर्स में हमने कंप्लीट कर लिया 2 फीचर्स को। द फर्स्ट इज़ द Himalayan mountain system and the second is the peninsula, the Indian plain. And now we are going to start with the third feature, that is the peninsular plateau. So in this peninsular plateau, firstly we will see that how the peninsular plateaus were formed. क्योंकि अगर हम बात करें peninsular plateau की, तो ये इट इज़ द इंडियाज ओल्डेस्ट एंड मोस्ट स्टेबल लैंड मास है। सो अगर हम फॉर्मेशन की बात करें, इसकी फॉर्मेशन की अगर हम बात करें, सो पेनिनसुलर प्लेट्यू की अगर फॉर्मेशन की हम बात करें, सो हाउ द पेनिनसुलर प्लेट्यू फॉर्म्ड। अगर इसकी हम फॉर्मेशन की बात करें, सो एज वी नो दैट before the formation of the subcontinents, that the whole earth was united into the one large landmass and a large water body that is the surrounded by this whole mass. So this is the Pangea. It's a landmass, and surrounding this region this is the a large water body. Surrounding this region, that is the large water body that is known as the Panthalassa. This is the Panthalassa. Panthalassa is a large oceanic body. So, and due to different forces, that is the gravitational forces, and it could be that because of the अर्थ इनर साइड में जो एक्टिविटीज़ होती रहती हैं उसकी वजह से, सो दिस लैंड मास इज गॉट डिवाइडेड इनटू 2 पार्ट. सो द फर्स्ट इज द that is the northern and the southern, and this northern part that is known as the northern, that is the Laurentia land, and the southern is known as the Gondwana land. And again this big sizes of the landmass divided into number of the subcontinents, and that led to the formation of the different continents. Also in the, if we talk about in the Laurentian landmass, so the जितने भी हमारे नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर में सब कॉन्टिनेंट्स हैं, लाइक दैट नॉर्थ अमेरिका एंड यूरोपियन, इवन सम पार्ट ऑफ द एशियन, जितने ये नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर जितने भी कॉन्टिनेंट्स हैं, these continents these were formed from the Laurentia land, whereas the Gondwana land, that is the African continents form, and the South America, Australia, even the most important, the India is also is the part of the Gondwana land. So as we know that, so दो इंडिया का अगर हम बात करें प्रेजेंट में इसकी लोकेशन की, तो जो इंडिया करेंटली it's located in the northern hemisphere, but India is original part of the Gondwana land, that is the southern hemisphere part. So let's understand how India became the part of the northern hemisphere. So during the at around 135 million year ago, this Gondwana landmass, it जो ये लैंड गोंडवाना लैंड मास है, इट अगेन ब्रेक डाउन एंड फ्रॉम दिस जो इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट है, इंडियन सब कॉन्टिनेंट एंड ऑस्ट्रेलियन continents, it got emerged. So as the Indian subcontinent, earlier they were the part of the, so earlier the Indian subcontinent and Australia, they were part of the single landmass, but at around 130 and 135 million years ago, these regions got divided into two separate regions, and Indian subcontinents it starts moving, and then the Indian subcontinents, it starts moving towards the northern side, that is the Indian subcontinents are moving towards the northern side, and whereas that the Australia, this is moving towards the southern side. So Indian land mass, and it is moving towards the northern side, and when it collided with the European land mass, then in between the European subcontinents and the Indian continent, there was a big Tethys Sea was present, and due to their compressive forces, the sediments of the Tethys Sea it got squeezed and led to the formation of the Himalayan mountain. So this is the formation of the इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट्स एज द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द पेनिनसुलर प्लेट्यू. अगर हम पेनिनसुलर प्लेट्यू की बात करें, इसके अगर हम फीचर्स की बात करें, सो वी हैव सीन दैट हाउ द पेनिनसुलर प्लेट्यू वाज फॉर्म. अगर हम इसके प्लेट्यू अगर इसकी हम बात करें फीचर्स की, सो इट इज़ द इंडियाज ओल्डेस्ट एंड most stable landmass. Why it is the, we have seen that why it is the oldest and why it is the stable landmass. It is a stable landmass, it is because of that in the Peninsular Plateau there were no volcanic formation was found. So in this, that no volcanic eruption or no earthquake zone it is found in this region, and it is mostly made up of igneous rocks. अगर हम igneous rocks की बात करें, it is that the igneous rocks, it is the Archean, gneiss and crest. So due to the formation it is made up of because of the Archean gneiss and crest and the igneous rocks. This is the most stable landmass. So अगर हम बात करें, so in the suppose in the some part of this region there is the Deccan trap is also present. Deccan trap क्या है? As when the Indian landmass it was moving towards the northern hemisphere at around 130 to 135 million years ago. So at that time, in the northwestern part of the, this is the northwestern part of the Indian landmass. So at the region of the reunion hotspot was present at the east of the African continents. So when the Indian landmass was passing above the reunion hotspot, so जो reunion hotspot है इट्स बेसिकली इट्स अ वल्केनिक रीजन है. सो यहाँ से जो वल्केनिक मैग्मा एंड द लावा जो इरप्ट होते थे, दैट लावा इट मेड द that lava is made the Deccan Trap of the India. So it's it's the through the fissure region, the lava and magma it got it came up above the earth's surface, and this lava and magma they form the Deccan Trap of India. And as we know that जो lava and magma that which is coming from within the earth's surface, these are mostly they are the hard. After the solidification they become the hard, and it is one of the also the reason why the Indian peninsular plateau it is the most stable region. So we have seen this the formation of the peninsular plateau and its and why it is the most stable landmass. So let's see. So here it is given that it is a tableland composed of the old crystalline igneous and metamorphic rocks. So yeah, it was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land and thus making part of the oldest landmass. We have understand that why the Gondwana, how the Peninsular Plateau is formed from the Gondwana land. So next is that here there is a plateau which has a broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. The two broad division, that is the Central Highland and the Deccan Plateau. So here in the inside of the, as if you'll see the map of India, so this region is the Central Highland. And it is located in the middle of the Indian subcontinent, and this region is the Deccan Plateau. As we know that the plateaus are most important, it's because of their mineral presence. So in the plateaus region, the more number of the plateaus are present, minerals are present. So here is the Peninsular Plateau. There is a Peninsular Plateau, and there is a Narmada, and the यहाँ पे if you see the map of that India, I'll draw the map of the, suppose this is the southern map of the southern Indian. So here that is the from this region, so that is the mountain system, and this mountain system is known as the Vindhyan mountain system. And below the Vindhyan, that is the one another, that is the Satpura, and this is the Satpura. So in between this system there is the Narmada river, it is flow. So in between this, in between the Vindhyan hills and Satpura hills, that is the Narmada river it flows. And अगर नर्मदा रिवर के ओरिजिन की बात करें, it originates in the Amarkantak hills, and the Amarkantak hills it is present in the Madhya Pradesh, and from where the Narmada river originates, and it drains the states of MP, Rajasthan, Gujarat and the Maharashtra. And below the Satpura, in the south of Satpura, the another river it also flows, that is the Tapti. And these two rivers It is the exception of all river that flows towards the west, while most of the rivers they flow towards the eastern margin of the continent. It is the one of the two rivers, that is the Narmada Tapti, and the another river, that is the Mahi and the Sabarmati. They also flow towards the western side in the Arabian Sea. This is the Arabian Sea, and the Narmada and Tapti, both river, they flow through a rift valley. What is the rift valley? The valley which is present between the two mountain system. And here, if we'll talk about that, this Peninsular Plateau, it also found in the region of the Meghalaya Plateau. If we are talk about the, this is the Meghalaya Plateau. So जो मेघालय प्लेट्यू है, मेघालय प्लेट्यू है, it is the northeast extension part of the Peninsular Plateau. So if we talk about that, this is the Peninsular Plateau. So this is the Peninsular Plateau, but it also extends to the Meghalaya Plateau. But here, between the Meghalaya Plateau and the rest of the Peninsular Plateau, there is a gap. This is the gap, and this gap, there is a gap, and this gap, it is known as the Malda or Garo Rajmahal gap. And between this Rajmahal or Garo gap, the Ganga river flows. Ganga river flows through this region. So that's why the Meghalaya Plateau and the rest of the Peninsular Plateau, it got separated because of the presence of the Garo or Rajmahal gap, at which the Garo Rajmahal gap, the Ganga river flows and it reaches the Bay of Bengal. So in this region, there were the there is the a number of the hills, smart hills are the largest hills are also found, like that Makalu, Amarkantak hills. There are some of the Satpura hills, Vindhyans hills. These are the hills. These are also found in the region of the Peninsular Plateau. And the and if we see that in the here, if we draw the complete map, so at this region here, the Aravalli hills, here is the Aravalli hills also found. So we have seen the location of the Peninsular Plateau and how it extends, how there is a extension towards the eastern, that is Meghalayan Plateau, and how the Meghalayan Plateau and the rest of the Peninsular Plateau, they got separated, and the region behind it, and through which there is a valley, through which the Ganga river flows and reaches to the, we have seen all the things. So next thing here is that the Vindhyan range is bounded. We have seen the location of the Vindhyan range. We have also seen the Aravallis, and we also seen the Chambal, Sindh, Betwa, Ken, the desertic region. Here is the Bundelkhand, Baghelkhand. It is also in the central highlands. These are also found. So Here, if we talk about that is a Deccan Plateau, it is a triangular landmass that lies to the south of river Narmada. So we have seen that the location of the river Narmada at its flows through a rift valley that is made by the two mountain system, and through which the river Narmada and river Tapti, both river flow towards the Arabian Sea in the western side में. So here the Mahadev, Kaimur and the Makal ranges are also found, and we have also seen that it is the extension of the plateau is visible in the northeast, locally known as the Meghalaya or the Caribbean along plateau and North Kachar hills. So in the Peninsular Plateau there is also the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats, they are also present. If we talk about the what is the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, so they mark the eastern and the western edges of the Deccan Plateau. So if you see that what is the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, if we talk about that Western and Eastern Ghat, so this is the map of India, and here and this is the Peninsular Plateau. This is the Peninsular Plateau, and this is the Bay of Bengal, and this is the Arabian Sea region. So, and the western and the eastern margin of the Peninsular Plateau. So this is the eastern margin of the Peninsular Plateau, and this is the western margin of the Peninsular Plateau. It is known as the Western Ghat. It is known as the Eastern Ghat. If we talk about the Western Ghat, it is a continuous region. Why it is a continuous region? Because of that in the western of the west flowing river, जितनी भी हमारी हैं, there is a less number of the west flowing river, and because of their they are the short lived rivers and they are mostly the seasonal rivers. So ये क्या करती हैं, as unlike the Himalayan river that they when they flow and they descend from the Himalayan region, they cut the Himalayan or the mountains and they brought the sediments. But in the Peninsular Plateau there are the less number of the rivers, and as they are the short lived and they are the seasonal river, so they do not cut the generally the hard and this hard plateau. That's why the Western Ghat region, it is the mostly a continuous region. And if we talk about the height of this Western Ghat, when we will move from the north towards the south, the height is also increased. While if we talk about the Eastern Ghat, so because of their number of the rivers, they flow like that. If we'll see that through the map, there are number of the rivers like that. Here is the Mahanadi, here is the Mahanadi, here is the Mahanadi river, Mahanadi, this is the Mahanadi, and later that here is the Godavari, and here is the Krishna, and here is the Kaveri. So there are a number of the river, they flows through this region, and because of the number of the rivers they flow, they cut the and dissected these plains into the at the number of the places. That's why this is the not a continuous, this is not a continuous ghat. And if we talk about that, the Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat, they merge at the Nilgiri hills. and these Nilgiri hills are also located at the center of the Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Okay, so we have seen that why the Western Ghat is a continuous region and that Eastern Ghat is a discontinuous or the not a continuous ghat. Because of that, in the Eastern Ghat, the most number of the rivers they flow towards the east in the and they met with the Bay of Bengal, and like that Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, these rivers as they flow towards the eastern region, so they dissected or they cut the plains at the multiple location, and that's why it is not a continuous range, whereas the Eastern Ghat it is mostly a continuous range. Because of that, there are less number of the river which flows towards the west, and mostly it is a hard land, and the river were not able to cut these are the most hard. It's because of the Peninsular Plateau, it is made of the Archean gneiss and schist rocks, so the river they do not generally penetrate or the cut this region. So the next, if we'll talk about that, the Western Ghat है, it is a submergent coast. It is a submergent coast. Why? Because the it is a submergent coast. It is a submergent coast. Why it is submergent coast? Because at a point of time when the Himalaya, then the Indian Peninsula, it is moved towards the northern side, when it got collided with the European plate, then some parts of the western side of the in western side of the Indian subcontinent, it break down and it submerged inside of the water, whereas this Eastern Ghat it is a emergent coast. It is an emergent coast. It is an emergent coast. It is an emergent coast because of when the Western Ghat it got submerged, then the eastern side of the region it emerged and it come out from the Bay of Bengal or the seas region, and that's why it is the emergent coast, while as it is the divergent coast, it is the submergent coast. So we have seen why how the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats, what the difference between them and how they are correlated with each other, and why it is Western Ghat is known as the submergent and it is the Eastern Ghat is emergent coast. So here the two words, that is the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats, and if we'll talk about the Western Ghats, if we'll talk about the uses, if we'll talk about the benefit of the Western Ghat, if we'll talk about the benefit of the Western Ghat, as they help in the amount of the precipitation. So as in the Western Ghat, so there are number of the mountains, because there are the number of the mountains it is present in the, these are the evergreen trees forests which are present at the Western Ghats. So this is the Arabian Sea and here is the Bay of Bengal, and this is the equator line. This is the equator line. So when the southeast trade winds, they came, but because of the Coriolis force, after crossing the equator, because of the Coriolis force after crossing the equator, these winds become as the southwest winds. Southwest winds. They become as the southwest. They become as the southwest coast winds. southwest winds. So what is the Coriolis force? The Coriolis force it act because of the rotation of the earth, and these winds in the northern hemisphere, because Coriolis force in the northern hemisphere, it deflected the winds right side towards the right side, whereas in the southern hemisphere these force they move or that deflected the winds towards left side. So as the southeast trade winds, when they converted into southwest winds, so they when they flow over the Arabian Sea, and because of its the temperature is high, they ये क्या करते हैं, जब फ्लो ओवर द अरेबियन सी, तो ये क्या करते हैं, ये जो वहाँ पे मॉइस्चर होती है दे कंजर्व आर द मॉइस्चर को एक्वायर करती हैं, और व्हेन दे these are the saturated winds when reach towards the western ghats. So ये क्या करती हैं, suppose this is the mountain system, when the winds, the moisture laden winds, they reach to the mountains barrier, so they were forced to rise, and they when moisture winds they forced to rise. So जब rise होते हैं तो यहाँ पे ये कंडेंस होती हैं and they precipitate. That's why in the western ghat of the region, the most amount of the waterfall it occur. And here the some part that is between, it is the Pal Ghat. It is the Pal Ghat, and from this region, the southwest monsoon winds it enter into the Karnataka and some part of the Tamil Nadu region, and they do also precipitate in the summer or the southwest monsoon, and the other limbs it through the Narmada and Tapti gap they enter to this region, and they also precipitate in the Madhya Pradesh region, and the one limb that is flows parallelly to the Arabian Sea, and it reaches to the Himalayan mountain system, and it precipitate over here. So we have seen the usefulness of the western ghat, as ये western ghat क्या करती हैं, as the जो मानसून विंड्स जो होती हैं, जो साउथ ईस्ट मानसून विंड्स होती हैं, when they move towards the south wind moves when they reach the equator, and due to the Coriolis force these winds deflected in the northern side, in the northern hemisphere, in the right side, and these now southeast trade wind it become the southwest winds, and they blow toward and flow over the Arabian Sea, and they contract or they took the moisture from the Arabian Sea, and when they reach over the western ghat, and due to the presence of a mountain barrier, these winds they forced to rise, and the winds they forcefully to rise, they got condensed, and moisture laden winds they got condensed and led to the formation of the precipitation. And there is some gap between in this, that is the one is the Pal gap, that is an Thor gap, Pal ghat, Thor ghat, and there is some gap, that is the one gap that is between the Palakkad gap, that is near the Kerala, and through this is the Palakkad gap, these southwest winds that reaches in the interior of the Karnataka and the Tamil Nadu some part, and they here do precipitate, wherein the some other limbs of the southwest monsoon it flow over the it flow in between the north, in between the Rift Valley, between the Satpura and the Vindhyan mountain system, and it also reach in the middle of the Madhya Pradesh and some part of the Chhattisgarh and other region, and here they do also precipitate, and the another limb of the southwest monsoon, and it blows parallelly to the Aravalli mountain, because these winds they blow parallel to the Aravalli mountains, because the Aravalli mountains, if you will see its location, it is roughly around the to the southwest, as it is fairly to the northwest, to the northeast. So these winds they also blow parallel to these Aravalli, and they reach over the Himalayan system, that is the Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand. Here these winds again they forcefully through the mountainous barrier and they precipitate here. So we have seen the benefit of the Western Ghat. So we have seen the Peninsular Plateau का region में, so how the Western Ghat they useful for the rainfall. वेस्टर्न घाट दीज आर डिसकंटिन्यूअस होते हैं. ईस्टर्न घाट्स वेव स्ट्रीट्स महानदी टू नीलगिरी, एंड ईस्टर्न घाट दीज आर डिसकंटिन्यूअस. वेस्टर्न घाट दीज आर द प्रोग्रेसिवली इंक्रीज north to south, and the highest peak that is the Anaimudi and the Doda Beta. So Anaimudi, if we'll talk about the Anaimudi, it is roughly 2695 meter, whereas the Doda Beta is the 2637 meter height. So these Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat they meet at the Nilgiri hills. So we have seen this. Now so there is a Peninsular Plateau, that is it is a covered with the black soil. और ये black soil कहाँ से है? It's because of the igneous rocks. As the igneous rocks, it's because of the volcanic eruption. So it's because of the volcanic eruption, and where the volcanic eruption occur, the soil, that is the black soil, it is found, and these are the beneficial for the cultivation of the cotton. That's why in this region the cotton cultivation it is more. So we have seen that the Peninsular Plateau, how the Peninsular Plateau's formation, there is a Gondwana, and how the Gondwana and the Pangaea it got breakdown, and how it moved towards the northern side after with the breakdown with the Australian Plateau. And we have also seen that there of the Peninsular Plateau there are the number of the mountain systems is present, like that Makal and Satpura Vindhyas, and how the Meghalaya Plateau is an extension of the rest of the Peninsular Plateau, and how it got divided with this region, and what is the location and the usefulness of the Garo Malda Gap that is present between the Garo Rajmahal Gap, and there is a useful of the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats, and how the Western Ghats they help in the precipitation towards the western region of the country. So we have seen all about this. So in the next topic we'll see the location of the Indian desert and its classification and its feature. So for today this is all about. So अगर आपको हमारे लेक्चर पसंद आए हो तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, एंड वीडियोस को लाइक करिए, शेयर करिए, एंड थैंक यू.